What's going on guys, DangerBooker97 here. Now today's video I'm about to show you is called Thief. Now this gameplay is played off of the PS4 and it's presented by Access PlayStation. So if you do go to enjoy the video, then make sure you click that like button. That is all I'm asking. It really supports this video and my channel. And make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss any content on my channel. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video anyway. Peace.
Hello Access, this is Nathan and I'm here with Daniel. He's the lead level designer on Thief and we're going to talk through, what's this level called?
This is called Friend in Need and it takes place a few hours into the game. So what you'll see here is Dayport.
There's a lot of panicking people in Greystone Plaza. I'm guessing it's too late to get anything from Jacob. But I am close to Eastwick's house, Baron's architect. If anyone knows a back door into the keep, it will be the man who built it.
So the keep is a stronghold for the Watch faction, and you kind of, it has a big reputation, so you need kind of a secret way to get in. So you're going to take a detour and go through a manor that belongs to the Baron's architect who designed the stronghold. So it's kind of this classic infiltration mission, and we're going to show you a couple of ways of doing an infiltration. There's actually more, but we're going to show you 3 today. And Dayport is kind of different, also visually styled from a lot of other places in the game. It's more stone versus like the more poor districts have more wood kind of thing. So there's like a visual style difference.
Sure.
And also the loot here is a little more different. It's more like exclusive things you can find in this area.
So roughly how many hours into the game will we be at this point?
Oh, that depends on your style, but it's in the say a third into the game.
Okay.
Approximately.
And so this first way through of playing, are we going to be going carefully here, or are we going to be kind of...
Well, let's start with a stealthy thing. I think would be a good idea. So you can see here, just like side things, areas. If you pay attention, you can actually start exploring and going different areas. We also saw a flower that was kind of blinging. That's one of the resources you have because your health and your focus meter.
Yeah. They
don't regenerate. So you kind of have to start paying attention to your resources, so to speak. So we're going to go stealthy and see if we can kind of distract away and see if we can manipulate the guards to get through. It's a very big manor, so you have to like pay attention to all the guards that are here.
Eastwick City House. No one ever called his work subtle. Seems I'm not the only one making a house call tonight.
So one of the themes we had for this level was this guy is kind of this genius person, so he would kind of do weird things. So we want to kind of symbolize it to having secret passages and secret things and a lot of like hidden things that he would hide from his wife or whatever. And it's kind of this intrigue story of what he's doing and so on. We won't go into any spoilers here, but there's like you start paying attention, start reading documents, you'll start finding a lot about what's going on here.
Sure. And
why the Baron is here to pick him up and things like that. So we have a couple of options here. He's used focus here just before, and you could see like the different things that were highlighted. Kind of give you an indication, okay, I could do a couple of those things, and now you have to figure out how to use those things or get to that position.
Yeah.
So, the ground is also a very important part for the Thief franchise. So you can also see like here, this grass, and grass makes less sound. So if he starts running, you're not going to cause a lot of sound, which means it's a good place to hide if you start getting caught. Whereas on the rocks, you make a little more sound. What you can also notice is it's raining, and that reduces the overall sound of that area. So there's a lot of these like variables that create the scenarios and make every setup very unique.
It's a very textured environment, isn't it?
Indeed, it's you can say that again. So a lot of details, and you heard like the barking of growling of a dog, which is kind of like a proximity alerter. So you have to kind of pay attention to whether or not you, if you agitate the dog, it's going to start barking and attract guards.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to, and some players, if you start knowing the map, you could be able to go through it faster, and you'll know what the boundaries are. Somebody who's just playing it's going to take a while to figure out what can I do, what options do I have.
So as the man who's kind of leading up design on kind of areas like this in the game, I mean, how many alternative ways are there into a place like this?
So in this particular case, there is what I call ways, sub-multipathing, where you have a multipath, but it divides into two multipathing.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's not just the number. I think the large scope of things, like I think there's at least 4, but some of those split into
You can
several
mix and
ones, and you
match,
can
right?
combine them with other,
Yeah.
depending on maybe where the patrol of the guard is, or if you have the correct tool, or so there's a lot of option. And we didn't really want to make it, like staccato design. We want to kind of keep the fluidity
Yeah.
of if you want to adapt, and some paths might have a loot in there, so you can go there, grab a loot, turn around, go back to get a more optimal path.
Gotcha.
But if you're a maximizer and you want all the loot, you
Yeah.
have to figure out which one and which order to do them in as well.
Oh, okay.
So naturally, traps is a part of it, and as you see here, in this case, we've upgraded and bought a tool that is a specific hardwire clipper to be able to disable traps.
A man with much to hide. If the situation was different, I'd take the time to enjoy this.
So there's a lot of things, there's of course the bow and arrows, and a lot of different arrows that are even non-aggressive. The water arrows back from the original Thief franchise.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to manipulate around. So what we found here is one of the secret passages, and voyeurism is also a very important part to see kind of what's going on. I think in this particular case, you can hear there's a guy in there talking. It has to make sense, right? So, for example, the architect would use this to sneak out in the middle of the night or whatever, and he needed a way to make sure that the other side was covered, that there was nobody there, was clear. So we kind of okay, how do we make these voyeurs not just be holes in the wall you can see through? How do we make it so that they make sense within the context of the location?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I even think one of the designers made it so that if you look at this hole in the wrong time, the chef's got to be right in front, scratching his private belongings. So you might be careful when you look through those voyeurs holes. You might get shocked.
It's one of the things about the game which I mean, if it was going to be true to the original games, which I played quite a lot, it's really hard to show off how because you spend so much time just standing still and listening for stuff and watching patrols, and it must be really difficult for you guys to get across, the kind of the patience that you need to get to really get the most out of the game.
I think there's a large part of it which is just the voyeurism of being in a place and hearing people talk about subjects and giving you clues, and naturally you can just break that. We don't force you to listen to. We want you to kind of, if you're that kind of player that takes things at your own pacing and takes it slow, you pay attention to the environment, we want to reward you. We want to give you something that'll give you clues or just give you entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, that was always a big part for us to make sure that happens. Producer's worst nightmare, because you might not see it, or you just do anything and you will break it. So for us, it's a reward system for the players who give themselves that extra time.
Oof.
That looked painful.
And there's the blackjack.
So he used the bottle here to call down the guards. So he heard something, hey, wait a minute, something happened down there. And he went down and was taken out. So isolating guards, because there's also, the chef is still up there. So if he were to see the guard get taken down, he would panic and then run to get other guards. So now he's going to have a trouble, because if he sees the dead body, he's going to start panicking as well, that somebody's here. They won't know where you are, but they'll know that you're in that area.
Be alarmed. I would be alarmed. And what was that firing the shot into the ceiling? Was that to try and distract him?
Yeah, in this case, we were a little off. Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
Painful. Also notice there was glass here on the floor,
Yeah.
and that propagates sound a lot, because you have the cracking sound when you put pressure on it.
Yeah.
So just paying attention to your environment. So as we have grass to help players get away, there's also the opposite. And that's just kind of like, pay attention. The small things make a huge difference.
Now, even when I was playing it earlier on, it kind of brought back memories of playing the original games. As soon as I saw a piece of carpet, I was like, yes. Get on the carpet.
And they function as grass as well. They kind of just dampen the sound.
Yeah.
So if you have a guard or somebody who's walking, you can speed up the process by just running over to him, pickpocketing or taking him down as you see fit, depending on your play style, of course. So I think those things is not something we enforce upon players. This is very important, but it becomes, when you start mastering the game, becomes a vital part of that game loop.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, the difficulty is very important for us as well. So we have like regular, easy, medium, hard, corresponding difficulties, but we also have a customized mode. So for those who are very competitive nature, they can go in and they can set some pretty hard constraints on playing this game. For example, my favorite is the Iron Man.
Right.
Which is if you die, it's permanent. Right. This is whoa. This is going to put up the tension. I'll ensure you that. But also, there's other things like if you get seen, you die.
Right.
And you can combine those two, and then you can see how this is going to get out of hand really quickly.
So if you turn everything on, and it's
yeah, we haven't actually been able to complete the game with everything on at the same time.
Someone out there will do it for you.
That's what we're hoping to prove us that they're better. So in this case, you found a secret button and a hidden safe.
So presumably you could drive yourself crazy designing levels with that many variables in mind.
Oh yes, we are crazy. That's for sure. No, there's a lot of things that we had as a foundation. Here you see, for example, that also that gives a hint to where one of the secret entrances are. So there's a lot of clues around. We wanted to start with a baseline. The way we design levels is that here's a scenario. This is the art direction. This is the narrative outline. This is the gameplay challenges or the ingredients in this area, and then we kind of define a setup, and then from that setup, that scenario, we start defining multipathing. We start defining what would be cool to do, what feels natural to. I want to go over there. I want to do this. Okay, how do we make that work? And then work. Through iteration, to create those experiences.
When do you know it's finished? When
it's never finished.
When you run out of time.
It's one of those things that you can keep on polishing for a long time.
Yeah.
At some point, we're still discovering that people don't know all the secrets. So that's where the level designers come in, and they have to know their level and all their secrets. We were playing the other day, and one of the marketing guys were watching us. He's like, "What? You can do that?" And he's been playing it forever, so it's kind of funny. In this case, we actually saw here, we used one of the chandeliers to pull down, cause a distraction, and pull down the guard so we can take a takedown position. That has, of course, more consequences. You could drop the chandelier on his head, too, if you wanted to get him in the position.
Okay, so chuck a bottle or something to get him downstairs.
Exactly. And you could also has secondary effects, like the chandelier actually produces glass patches around where it fell.
Right.
So now this becomes a more hostile sound propagation area. And even things like doors, if you close the doors behind you, that stops sound, limits how far sound can travel.
Oh, nice.
So you want to close doors behind you in case you end up in getting in trouble.
Servant of the Lion, by order of the Baron himself, Elias Northcrest, you are to present yourself to his watch.
No sense waiting out here with the gate crashers.
Master Eastwick, it'll go easier on you if you come willingly.
I think one of the funnier things you can find in this game is you can do exactly what he's doing now, is to sneak behind a guy right in the open and then steal something right behind his back, and he never knew you were there. This has kind of this weird insult to it, to the guard. That goes beyond just knocking him out and taking the loot. This is just the biggest insult you can do to a guard.
Yeah, it's definitely again, that's what Thief is to me, and I'm sure lots of players as well, is the kind of stuff when your heart's in your throat and you just, you're hoping that no one turns around, everything, and you want it to just quickly, and then run away.
Yeah, we call it hold breath moments.
Yeah. You're
like, okay, I'm gonna do something really crazy now, and let's go. And sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you restart.
Sometimes, a lot of times you restart if you're that kind of player.
I said I've often seen the master enter here, but found it empty when I check upon him.
You haven't ever nosed about for it?
No, of course not. It wouldn't be my place.
Oh.
So here you saw, for example, focus vision again. Or we could help just filter what happens around what's interesting objects. And we have alerters as well. We have the dogs we talked about outside. We also have birds.
Yeah.
And birds, they react to movement and a lot of sounds. In this case, it actually attracted the guards in the room to go like, okay, they heard something. What was going on? Okay. And they're investigating the sudden disturbance. So it's like even these subtle details of not just being guards everywhere, but even within a room could be smaller subtleties.
Noise.
Stay alert. Just stay alert. What could that have been?
So he's going to make a break for it to see if he can solve the puzzle before the guards go into his back. Taking out the lights really limits how far the guards can see.
Right.
So you're like, of course, you're a trained professional, so it's you have a much more keen eye. So what you see represents like kind of what Garrett would see. So he sees more in the dark than a regular guard.
That's exactly the kind of moment that I tend to. I know I've got to do something quite technical and small scale puzzle solving, and I think like, and my hands are all over the pad and I mess it up. Actually, I found the lockpicking and the kind of the puzzle. The kind of fidelity of it was just right, and I didn't use focus for it, but just challenging enough that you couldn't blitz through it too easily.
I need those plans.
So we skipped ahead a little for the spoiler's sake,
Yes.
but here he acquires the blueprint.
Don't move! Don't even! The architect! Murdered! Caught black-handed! Kill him!
Let's see. This opening at the base, some sort of steam vent or exhaust shaft. It would be suicide to break in through there. That should buy me back the element of surprise. And what's this? The Baron's great safe. Rumored to be the size of a house and filled with gold. Rumored.
So we won't continue on this mission for now. We'll leave that up to for later.
Yeah.
We'll